The New England Patriots just dropped some Drake Maye news. Let's talk about it. My name is Aaron. This is Sports Talk Patriots. On the daily, pushing out Patriots content for people just like you who love them some Patriots football. So before we get started, hit that subscribe button. Please like and comment below. So today we're going to be talking about Drake Maye and what the New England Patriots front office, specifically Jerod Mayo, had to say about the future star of the organization. As well, we're going to be talking about keys to the Seahawks game coming up this weekend in week 2 of the NFL. As well, we're going to be talking about some Tua Tagovailoa and that situation going down in Miami. So let's jump into it. First and foremost, we're talking about Drake Maye. So the other day, Jerod Mayo was asked about Drake Maye, essentially like, hey, what's going on with Drake Maye? What's your thought process? All these different things. And again, I have to give credit to Jerod Mayo. At the start, I wasn't sure necessarily about his coaching style. I love that he is a player's coach. I love all those different aspects of him, but I wasn't sure about necessarily the leadership aspect and how he was going to make calls. And I think he has proved me wrong in different times of making good decisions, saying the right thing. And so I think this is another thing right here. So he just comes up and says it, hey, with Drake Maye, it's accurate. It's no secret. We are trying to develop this future starting quarterback. Obviously, it shouldn't be a secret. He was drafted 3rd overall. Duh. So I think what's interesting is he does admit, hey, this is a little bit different, and we've had the conversation, and we're trying to figure out how we get a starting quarterback to get his reps while at the same time Drake Maye is getting his reps. So you look at this situation, and the good news, in my opinion, again, this is opinion, I think that Drake Maye, he's been giving about 30% of snaps when it comes to first team. That's at least this week as well. He's been getting those snaps, so they are prepping him, obviously, potentially down the road, taking over that first string role, okay? Now, what's interesting with that is we jump into last week, and you're like, Aaron, why are you showing me defensive rankings from 2023? Well, this is why. You look at last week, and Jacoby Brissett didn't even throw for 200 yards. Didn't dazzle. Wasn't anything crazy. No receivers really popped off. But when it comes down to it, the Bengals defense overall was ranked 31st in total defense. And then I believe when it came to passing defense was in the high 20s. The reason I bring that up is because the Bengals defense is not much better than it was last year. If anything, you could argue it was worse when they lost players like DJ Reader and others, not the best. So when it comes down to it, I think you are going to see at times this season and possibly soon Jacoby struggle and the possibility of Drake Maye stepping in. And I think that Jerod Mayo is doing a good job of getting him those first team reps. And I think over time as as practice goes on, as weeks go on, you will see that probably ramp up as well. Definitely if Jacoby has bad weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if Drake Maye got more as well. But it's interesting to think, and I respect the fact that Jerod Mayo is willing to come out and say, yep, this is what we're doing, A, B, C, and D, and this is why we're doing it. So comment below, what do you think about that? I think that's good news for Drake Maye. I know a lot of people have mixed emotions when it comes to the situation of Drake Maye. Some people think he should be starting. Some people like what Jerod Mayo and AVP and the organization are doing with Drake Maye. What are your thoughts? Comment below. I would love to hear it. But again, the Bengals defense, not great last year. So I don't know. Jacoby, he's going to go against a much tougher defense in the Seattle Seahawks. So we will see what happens when it comes to Jacoby Brissett and his production in week 2. Again, I'm hoping for the best, but need to point that out. Next, we're going to talk about, I thought this was super interesting, keys to the game. First of all, the Patriots led the league in 13 personnel plays or formations when it came to week 1. If you don't know what that is, 13 personnel is basically that first number is running back, second number is tight ends. So when you see a number like 13, that is, as people could call it, a diesel package, a power package where, hey, we're going to run the ball down your throat type deal. And you see that with Ramondre Stevenson getting 120 128 rushing yards on 24 carries, almost averaging 5 yards. So when you see someone line up in that personnel, it's almost certain that, yes, they are going to run the ball or play action of some sort. And hey, you gotta stop the run. You gotta stop the run, load the box, whatever it might be. But so I think when it goes, as the season continues, AVP and this team need to stick to what is tried and true for them, what is working for them in their identity. So hey, if we're gonna run 13 personnel and do this again, AVP, you look back at the Cleveland Browns, they did that very well with Nick Chubb. There's a reason Nick Chubb is a great running back. Obviously, he is very talented, but how they catered to that and helped him in the run game, getting more blocks, getting more tight ends out there is huge. So I think when you look at it for this week, they need to solidify the run game. They need to cram the ball down their throat. They need to get, again, they need to win the rushing battle. Case in point, they need to do it. So a lot of people have said, well, look at the Seattle Seahawks. They only gave up, I believe it was 64 rushing yards. Yep, 64 rushing yards to the Denver Broncos. But again, we need to discuss this. The Denver Broncos, their leading rusher had 9 carries. Not much. So they gave up on that. Bo Nix was throwing the ball all over the place. I believe he had 42 attempts. So they were up at one point, and then it got to a oh crap, red alert, let's start throwing the ball around like crazy, and almost abandon the run. That is what happened. Now, again, I will agree the Seattle Seahawks are going to have a better defense than the Cincinnati Bengals, but again, I do think the New England Patriots in that line, again, if they can be serviceable, they can run the ball, open up the pass a little more, but we're going to need to put up more points. So that's big. Stick to the 13 personnel and don't abandon that. Stick with your identity. And obviously, it's not every play. They ran it 12 times, which is still big for the NFL, and I think that's awesome. So they need to be tried and true with that. Next, turnover battle. It's going to be huge for them. They had three turnovers against the Bengals, so that has to happen in this game. They need to create turnovers. The defense needs to ball out. Again, if they can hold the Seattle Seahawks to 10, you should be able to win any game where you hold a team to 10. I don't think that is going to be the case. I think, again, it'll be interesting to see with who is playing for their team, if Kenneth Walker will be a game-time decision, what will happen with him. But as well, I think they have some solid wide receivers that have a ton of potential. And again, Geno Smith needs to try to get to the ball into his playmaker's hands. So it'll be interesting to see what he does there. So those, I think, are the biggest keys. Stick to your identity on offense. 1, all right? Don't stop running the ball like the Broncos did. Do not get into that fiasco. And then 2, got to win that turnover battle and got to turn it over. And defense needs to play their game. And obviously, offense needs to put points on the board. What else? What do you think are going to be some keys to this game this weekend? And then jumping into the last thing, comment below. What do you think the keys of the weekend are going to, or keys for week 2? Aaron, talk. My goodness. Keys for week 2. Comment below. I want to hear you guys. Last but not least, we are talking. If you watched Thursday Night Football, Tua Tagovailoa had that 4th down run where he got the first down. Damar Hamlin, he ran into him. How kind of ironic was that? But anyways, he ran into him. A very unfortunate event. He got a concussion, clearly was concussed. Very sad. It's one of those things where you see, and you've seen it more than once in him, and immediately I thought, I was like, he really has to be thinking about retiring after this. Just after the hits he's taken and the scenes he's had on the field, taking those time after time after time can't be good. So I'm certain that's something he'll be thinking about. Now you look at the Miami Dolphins. They are in the AFC East with the Patriots, obviously. And so Skylar Thompson is not the answer for them. They are moving on from him. He is a placeholder type deal. They are going to look for a veteran quarterback. I believe they've said that already. I think the person who could easily slide in is a Ryan Tannehill, has experience, had some decent years at Tennessee, and he's kind of just probably sitting out of his house at home. He probably was watching that game Thursday night. So I think Ryan Tannehill would be interesting. Other free agents, you look at this, and Honestly, it's a bunch of kind of backups. No one that really sticks out to you. Obviously, Blaine Gabbert was a starter for the Jaguars for a while, but it's someone you're just like, I respect the fact they put the GOAT Brian Hoyer on there. There we go green. But besides that, they talk about Tom Brady. There's no way Tom Brady's coming out of retirement. His job is too cush sitting in the booth, and I think he is enjoying that. And I don't think that the Miami Dolphins are necessarily competitors. I honestly thought the Dolphins were going to wipe the floor with the Bills, and the Bills proved me wrong. But Miami, what blew my mind is Miami was just running all over them at one point, and then it was just like, what are they doing? They're not even doing anything. And so, and somehow they turned it over. So very unfortunate. And then another one, interesting trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. I honestly could see a trade as well for Mac Jones. So we're talking about 3 former Patriots quarterbacks. Brian Hoyer's out there. He's not going to do it. There's no way. Jimmy Garoppolo, that's a possibility. I think he is technically still suspended. I could be wrong, but he is on the Rams, so that would be interesting trade to see what they would do there. And then Mac Jones, for a fact that the Jaguars are going to be like, listen, we want the moon for this guy, so we think he can still start. They're going to sell him up as much as possible. So what do you think? Comment below. What do you think about the whole Dolphin situation? Anything on your mind, comment below. I truly appreciate it. You guys rock. This is Sports Talk Patriots. On that way out, hit that subscribe button, comment below. We'll talk later. Peace.